The headline is Batman and Sobin instead of Batman and Robin. And any article that starts out with the words "the Hollywood hunk Robert Pattinson, who's taking over from Big Ben Affleck," you know what I mean? Like you got to take with the.
Mm. Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, glittery boy.
But it says a source told them that filming has been a grueling process, especially for Robert, as Matt Reeves, the director, is being a perfectionist. He'll insist on doing scenes over and over again and get bogged down in the tiny detail. Sometimes it's like he doesn't know when to stop. They go on to say that Matt has done blockbusters before, but this is on another level. Batman is arguably the most popular superhero of all time, and by the time the film is released, it will be The Dark Knight Rises' first solo movie in 10 years. Warner Brothers can't afford for the fan base to be disappointed and have thrown 90 million euros at the film. No one is denying that this is a high-stakes production and that Matt is feeling the pressure to get it right, but Robert has had a tough time on these franchise movies before. He hated Twilight by the time it wrapped, and the last thing anyone wants is for him to become jaded. They go on to say that all of the setbacks have made Matt Reeves paranoid about catching COVID, and it's got to the point where he's been directing scenes while zipped up in a puffer coat with ski goggles on.
I don't give a fuck if that guy's dressed up as a beekeeper. You trust his judgment. And by the way, let me tell you something about Glittery Boy. Like specifically, like at first I was gonna be like, oh, if it's something really bad, I get it. But he wants you to do the take 50 times because he wants to get it right. Do it or I'll break it off. Do it or I'll break it off. That's fine. It's Batman. For God's sake, you're living a dream. You get to reinvent your character and be Batman. And by the way, you're not talking about Stanley Kubrick here. It's not Stanley Kubrick, or is your hair falling out? Your beautiful spiky hair that you use got to be glue on all day like Shelley Duvall? I don't think so, sir. Like I just think this bitching from him, if that's real and he's bitching about it, I just think it's like one of the most ridiculous things to bitch about. Like, dude, yeah, he wants to make a really good movie. He's got a solid script. And I mean, look at fucking Ben Affleck, dude. That motherfucker was going through alcoholism. Jennifer Gardner was fucking God knows who. And like he knew he fucked up, that he still pulled off an amazing fucking Batman. So don't give me your glittery bullshit.
Yeah, everything you just said with the caveat of if it's fucking true. There's a good chance that this is not true and someone's just trying to start some shit. And here's clue number one that someone might be trying to start some shit. They say that Matt Reeves is so paranoid about COVID-19 that he's directing scenes zipped up in a puffer jacket wearing gigantic goggles. Doesn't that kind of sound like one of the keyed down costumes that the Riddler would be wearing? So, like, if someone just saw that guy and was like, hey man, that's Matt Reeves. You know what I mean? And the guy's like, oh, man, look how Freddy Covey is. You know, you don't fucking know. It could be anybody. You know? So,
I think it's one of those, dude, it's like, I swear, if you came onto the set, they're like, oh man, it'd be so cool to be Matt Reeves, and this motherfucker's sitting there with that puppet jacket. He's got like a little snorkel that's in his mouth to come up over so he can talk through it. I'm like, who's that fucking nerd? And they're like, oh, that's your boss. I'm like, oh, that's a great outfit, sir. That's how you be prepared.
Also, what fucking person thinks that a puffer jacket protects them from COVID-19? Like, that shit's all over here, number one. Number two, if you're gonna do anything, I would just do the Karate Kid thing where he's with the shower. You know what I mean? Like, just walk around, like pick it up and walk with you wherever you go. And like just peek over and be like, that was a good job on that scene, Robert. Do it again. But I mean, here's another reason why I think it might be bullshit is because Robert Pattinson just did The Lighthouse with Robert Eggers. He's done stuff with super indie directors before and worked with perfectionists and big time directors before. Like, I'm sure that this is not the first time he's had, like, imagine filming The Lighthouse, right? The shit that they went through doing that and the lines they had to remember and having fucking what's the other guy's name? Willem Dafoe just screaming in your face and then them like talking about fucking steaks and all this crazy shit. The wild set of where he has to like fuck a mermaid and like jerk off and do all sorts of weird stuff. Like, to me, if you're coming off of that set, I find it highly surprising if you're doing the Batman and you're like, this guy's making me do too many takes in this heavy Batman outfit and calling him a control freak. Pattinson seems like the artsy kind of dude who would actually appreciate something like that. And when the article references that he's had trouble with blockbuster productions before, they reference Twilight. There's not a human fucking being on this earth that would have gone through what he went through on Twilight and gotten the backlash that he did and crawled his career out of that dumpster trash can to do what he's doing and to be respected as an actor, not just, you know, the glitter shit, that wouldn't talk shit about that movie after it was over. So, I mean, to me, that's not like, oh, this guy's trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know how much I mean, it is, if he did it, I don't know how much I actually believe that Robert Pattinson would be that kind of a douchey guy to be like bitching about the conditions of the working environment. It's not like the guy, it's not like Matt Reeves is technically even being toxic. He just wants a good movie that he's like putting a lot of effort into making. It's, you know, especially with, you know, the COVID shit going around. Like, he just wants to make sure everything is done right. And, you know, all the, you know, P's and Q's are done, you know, everything to the letter is done. So I don't really think he's doing that. But then again, I also was thinking about The Lighthouse. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I don't think the director of The Lighthouse would tell him, like, hey, you got to fuck that mermaid 50 different times. I want to see all the Kama Sutra moves that you got in your back pocket.
But he did just do a scene with now granted, to be fair, I did read something about at first him and Willem Dafoe were like very weird together on set at first. Like, they had a very, very strange relationship. But I mean, he also just did Tenetti's with is it Tenet? That's what I thought I said the first fucking time. It's someone. I don't
know.
It's
Tenet. Maybe it's Tenet.
Stop making movies so goddamn complicated, Christopher fucking overrated ass Nolan. I loved your Batman films, but I mean, honest to God, dude, like, he just got done with Christopher Nolan. I highly doubt that Matt Reeves is so bad that Robert Pattinson's like going behind set in the Batman outfit, just talking to fucking people with boom mics and shit, like, about how hard it is.
And also it wouldn't look good for him career wise either.
Yeah,
and not to admit, and you know, I did read in the article that they had said that, you know, this is pretty bad considering that if he's already burnt out, then it may not be a future for him any long-standing. If he turns out to be an amazing Batman, but he had such a horrible time making the movie that he would never come back and do Batman again, and we'd lose another great Batman. I just don't think that's true, because again, Ben Affleck in a lot of ways was already established. He'd already like fucking made a name for himself. He was a badass already coming into Batman, and he was a great fit. Robert Pattinson, I think, needs this movie more than even Matt Reeves needs to make it. I really do. I'm not saying that Robert Pattinson is still remembered as sexy boyfriend from the Twilight movies, but he, you know, he's still done a lot of indie shit that he's still not like technically there as like a badass yet. This movie's gonna actually make him like the perception of him will change with this movie.
Yeah,
like I think in a lot of ways, because it'll be a bigger audience exposing himself to like how much he's grown as an actor.
Yeah, that's true. And also on the flip side of that, if you want to take the, like, what if the article's true? Okay, let's pretend for a second on the flip side that the article's actually true and this is actually going on. I mean, you do have a couple, you know, little tea leaves going on here with the whole thing, the rumor about him refusing to put on weight that we talked about earlier. Still don't know if that's true or not. The whole COVID situation that happened. And then you have a thought, like, maybe in Pattinson's mind, we're all like, hey, give Pattinson a chance. Like, I think he'll do great. We shouldn't shit on the guy. But it's possible that in his mind, he's thinking, man, this is because actors do this, especially these weird little indie actors. They like to do their paycheck movie. Like, no, I did that one to pay the bills, and that way I could do the next 10 films for passion. So there's a chance here that, like, maybe, and this is, again, a complete fucking speculation. I'm sure he's a lovely guy and he appreciates the shit out of it. But playing devil's advocate, there's a chance here that he's thinking, I'm doing this for a fucking paycheck so that I can continue to do my indie films and the stuff I want to do. I don't actually even give a fuck about Batman. This is the least worst scenario because at least it's a good director. You never know. He could be smelling his own juju beats. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he actually would even be the kind of guy to be like, I don't care about Batman, because if you don't care about Batman, you're a fucking communist. I don't give a shit who you are.
Maybe he is.
He is British. No, I'm kidding. No, but he loves Batman. Like, I mean, he's still I don't know how old he is, but he looks like he's still a fucking kid. Like, I mean, everybody like dreams of being Batman. Like, they have the chance of being Batman would be amazing for anybody, especially for a young actor. As like it's a big deal. I mean,
would you or me? But there's tons of actors that have come out and said like they have no interest in the spandex movies. You know what I mean?
That's because but if they look at something like what Christopher Nolan did with the Dark Knight trilogy, that really almost became something bigger than a superhero spandex movie.
I don't agree with that sentiment. I don't agree with that sentiment at all. I think that you're a fucking nut job if you wouldn't want to play Batman. I'm just saying maybe that's what he's thinking.
It's ruined. I mean, you look at someone like George Clooney, but that's because of a terrible fucking script and like, let's sell toys, bitch.
Yeah.
Like, that's what happened to him. And I mean, kind of got him on a bad like wave, but I don't know, man. Like, it just seems like that's a little bit of a flimsy article because
yeah, it does.
I don't know. There was also rumors coming out again that he faked the COVID thing because he didn't want to work. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know if you'd be that terrible of a person, you know, to fake a disease that's literally killing, you know, people all over the world, to be like, just because you don't want to fucking go to work.
Yeah. You know what they should do? Him and Matt Reeves should just come on like fucking a Hollywood Reporter article together and be like, look, guys, none of that shit's true. This is like the 4th fucking leak from the set. That's a rumor. None of this shit's true. We fucking love each other. The movie's going great. We got an asshole on set, and you shouldn't believe any of these sites. That's what they should do. But if they don't do that, I don't know. Maybe there is something going on.